Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. We're here on a rainy, cold day in the greenhouse, and we're going to start taking it apart. Last night we loaded the scaffolding on top of the car, brought it out and set it up for today. Today there'll be lots of greenhouse work here in the bonsai zone.
The length. So this one here can go further up, right? This can go right to the.
So here's the paint markers.
Okay, 13. I'm just trying to see which one belongs. You figured 13, right?
Laura's going down the greenhouse, marking all the hoops with a number and a letter for the left and right hand side. So you're marking the front face with all the numbers starting at the front of the greenhouse.
I'm going to do letters on this side.
Letters on the left side, numbers on the right side. Got it. Now I think I'm going to need a wrench. This pipe. And that should bring truss number 1 down. Okay.
And then I was going to put like the left side hardware on this side.
Okay. Yeah, that should work okay.
You're going to have the ladder. This ladder.
Hi everyone, we're back for day 2 of working in the greenhouse. I'll give you a recap of what we got done the first day and what we want to do this morning. Yesterday was quite cool. It was only about 8 degrees. So we rolled down the sides of the greenhouse to keep the wind from blowing under. It made us a little warmer. The garage door at the front here, the cable was off the winder up here, and there's one of the little pulleys that's out of the track. But I got the door closed, so there's no wind in here now. It's still cool today, but it's sunny, so it should be quite warm inside this greenhouse. Might even get too hot. We left the end section up because the garage door tracks are on it and the wall. So we took down the second section here, so that's totally down now. We're going to skip the next section because we need to keep, the structural integrity of the building together. So we're going to keep this section intact. And then we've started to take down the next section. So we're going to skip every other section, and that should keep the plastic up. We're trying to do as much work inside with the plastic on as we can before we have to take the whole covering off. I was working on taking down the electrical, the fans up here yesterday. And there's a bunch of wires and cables. Right to here. I'll just leave it on there and then I'll move it. Okay. I did drop one nut down there.
Okay.
Okay. So we're working on getting the next section out, and we've noticed that as we're working down the greenhouse, the weight of the plastic becomes heavier on each section because we've removed some already. So it's not distributed evenly over the greenhouse. So it's making it harder to remove the bolts from all the connections because everything's under tension. So we may have to remove the plastic earlier than we thought and just work on the bare skeleton of the greenhouse.
Okay, that's okay. I got it in my head.
So I'm gonna pull it out down here.
You are. Did you see that bolt? It's kind of wiggly.
I see it.
Yeah. And then you just have to like.
It's out.
Oh, okay. It was easy then. Okay. Okay.
Now we can lower the arch down on that here. There we go. Easy as that. I was just outside checking the time, and it's really cold outside. And inside the greenhouse here, it feels like summer. So far we've got 2 sections down at the end of day 2, which is just a half a day. So this section here, and then we're keeping this in place, and the next section is taken down also. So that's good progress. And I think we're gonna have to take the cover off and then take these other sections down. So that's the end of day 2, which is just half a day. I'm off to my food fit class, which is just healthy cooking, which is good because I'm really hungry. Hi everyone, Food Fit was fantastic. We learned all about making salads, and we made a nice roasted sweet potato salad. Today, not only did we get our first frost last night, but we also got our first snow of the year. Let's go in and have a look at some of these wintry landscapes. It's fairly early in the morning right now. I've got to do my son's paper route because he has orchestra tonight, and we're hoping to get out and start working on the greenhouse again today. Yeah, so there's the snow on the old cedar forest. The elephants look definitely cold. Yeah, they don't like the snow. And there's the larch forest. Lots of snow on it. There's a few leaves that have fallen on it too. I should get out of there. Yeah, there's the spruce tree. All the branches are drooping under the weight of the snow. Pretty cool. You can see with the larch tree here that the needles are still a nice healthy green color, even though it's covered in snow and ice. Yeah, no change of fall colors with the larches yet. I'm sure it'll come very quickly after this temperature change we had. Austrian pines covered with ice and snow. Yeah, I did get all my aloes out of the greenhouse. You can see it's totally empty in here now. Yeah, got them out in the nick of time just before it got cold. Let's have a look at the Douglas fir forest over here. Covered in a few leaves. Everything's looking good. It's kind of underneath this tree up above, this Manitoba maple, so it doesn't get much snow on it. It's sort of protected from the frost and the snow here. But I will be moving it inside the greenhouse when it starts to get a little colder outside. Most of the trees I have on my benches now are really hardy trees. Last winter I was going to bring all my trees in when the weather got really cold, and just as the weather started to turn cold, our furnace broke inside the house. So we had no heat at all, and I had to scrounge around in the backyard under all the tarps and get firewood. We have a wood fireplace in our house, and that kept the house just above freezing. I think the highest it got up to was about 6 degrees, and it was minus 22 degrees outside. So And then I had to clear out the basement. I had to make sure there was a path so they could get the new furnace in. So by that time, the plants had been outside in the minus 22 degree weather for about 4 days. So I thought, well, there's not much point bringing them in now. It's not going to get any colder, and they've already been out in the cold. So I did lose a lot of trees. It just froze them over the winter. And, you know, sometimes life gets in the way of bonsai. What can you do? So the ones on my bench now are pretty hardy. They've already gone through the coldest winter that we usually get around here. And so any that have died from cold have already died. So the rest are all pretty hardy trees. However, I will bring them in this winter for the coldest weather again, down into the basement, just for the coldest months of the winter. Here's my apple tree, and it's got some nice shelf fungus on it. Looks really cool. Yeah, I like that. It's still doing quite well. There's one main shoot on the trunk that you can see up here, and there's another branch off this direction that are doing well. The rest of these branches all died off. There's only one live vein going up the side now. The right side of the tree here is doing really, really well. It's growing nice and healthy. The moss is doing really well at the base here. Yeah, I'm hoping to restore this apple tree. It'll never look the same as it did before, but you know, I want that image of a old orchard tree, one that's barely alive. And yeah, so maybe someday I can restyle this and it'll become a nice tree again. My wife did get her greenhouse done here. You can see all the ice and snow on it. And inside it's, I don't know if we can see in here, but it looks like it's warm in there. There's condensation on the windows here, and yeah, everything looks good inside, nice and green. So yeah, it definitely did the job. She has a Walpini over here, which is this is for the ducks eventually. It's kind of dug into the ground. I'll see if I can get in here. There. Let's see if we can get in here. So here's inside. It's not finished yet, but you can see how it's dug into the ground. Got a roof overhead. And actually I can feel the warmth inside here. It's quite warm. Because it's dug into the ground, it's possible to keep this warm throughout the whole winter. So yeah, that's for the ducks to play in the middle of the winter. So this is my bonsai area over here, and the plan is to put the arch of the greenhouse this way, so it'll go the 30 feet across and then 25 feet out towards the center pathway here. So I'm going to put one greenhouse here, one of the shorter ones. We're going to split it into 3. The other one will probably go up on the other side of my bonsai area. So another 25-foot one. You can tell it's early in the morning, the roosters are crowing. And then way back here in the backyard, if we come all the way back here, way back, so starting around here, right around here, our property goes 2 lots over that direction. So and all these trees have grown in the last kind of 15 years, except for the big oak here. But all the rest are just kind of pioneer trees. Nothing special. So I'm going to clear out a spot here, and we'll put the 50-foot long greenhouse back in the very backyard here. So this property's all fenced in, so I don't think I'll have a problem with people coming into the backyard, I hope. You never know, but yeah, so there's a few mature trees back here. There's a horse chestnut, this oak, which is getting quite large. There's a larch tree here, which has cones on it, and I'll have to collect those cones and get the seeds. But most of it, I had some great big American elms back here, but they just suddenly died one year. You can see they've fallen down now. Yeah, so there's a giant area here that used to be all in the shade, but the elms all died and they've fallen down, so I can clear that all out. So we've got a lot of open, empty space back here, which is good because you don't want trees falling on the greenhouse. So I can clear out some of the smaller trees and should make a pretty good setting for the greenhouse back here. Tonight I have my bonsai meeting, the KW Bonsai Society, or the Kitchener-Waterloo Bonsai Society. And then this weekend I have the Toronto Bonsai Society's annual fall show. So I'll be going to that probably on the Saturday, because that way I can leave my whole Sunday free for working on the greenhouse. I'm going to go inside now and do some work on my bonsai trees, clipping them back to get them to all fit in the plant room nicely. It wouldn't really be a bonsai video without some tree work. Hi everyone, we're inside now. It's nice and warm and humid in here. At tonight's meeting of the KW Bonsai Society, I will have to give away a few cuttings because it's just too crowded in my plant room here. So I've got this little forest here of crown of thorns. It's, I think there's 2 jades in here too. Yeah, one here and one here. So I would love to keep it, but I just have no room. Maybe when I get the new greenhouse up next summer, I can grow more cuttings to, you know, create even more forests and things like that. So yeah, I'll have to give this away. These are the cuttings off my original crown of thorns. Nearly every cutting survived. They're even flowering now, so yeah, crown of thorns are really easy to root from cuttings. I will have to decide what tree I'm going to prune back today. Last video I did my rainforest here. I've done my Ficus religiosa, and you can see all the new shoots coming in on that. So that's kind of exciting. I will have to prune my aloe back. I won't do it today. I'll do a video just on the aloe. I'm going to remove all these multiple trunks at the base, so I just have my single trunk growing up. That was the plan for the styling of this tree. It looks pretty nice as a clump style, but yeah, I've got lots of other aloes that I can play around with different styles, but I think this one I'm just gonna have the single trunk and try and grow it like a quiver tree style. I think a good candidate today for pruning back is my Plumeria here. You can see it's quite tall. The top of it's looking pretty good after I brought it in. It's looking like it wants to start growing again, so if it does, I better prune it back now so all my growth grows into branches instead of just growing taller. So that was my plan. Yeah, so let's get out the Plumeria, and that'll be today's tree for pruning back. So here's my Plumeria. Last year, I made a cut here, and it caused it to rebranch, so I just got one branch out the side here, and almost a branch here. There's a bump here, and there's a slight bump back here too. So I think this time when I prune it back, it'll probably activate this second branch, so I'll get my one trunk dividing into 2. So here I go. I'm just going to prune it off. I want to get it shorter, so here's my first length, and I want to kind of get about half that. So I think I'll prune it right here. So here I go. Done. So we'll see what happens to the tree, what happens with the branching. I will plant this cutting. I'm going to let the bottom dry out a bit. I'll remove these lower leaves. like this. I'll even remove this one. So there's my cutting, and I'll just put that in a pot of bonsai soil and keep it fairly dry at first, and then I'll slowly increase the watering. My other Plumeria cutting is growing another leaf on it. This is not the first time that it's grown leaves. You can see there's kind of a branch starting out the side, but yeah, I'll just keep watering it, and hopefully it's not dying. Hopefully it's rooting and starting to grow. So we'll do the same for this cutting. We'll just put it in soil and see what happens. So that is it for today. We did a little bit of everything. I will be going to the Toronto Bonsai Society's fall show this weekend. I'll show you the poster for it, and I'll also put a link to the Toronto Bonsai Society, their webpage, and you can get all the details about the show in the description below. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for watching today here in the Bonsai Zone.